Hi, I'm Trish from Everyday Stitches, and today I'm going to show you how to inset circles with your sewing machine. So here I have my 3 components for the circle. This is for the smallest circle on the inside, cut to about 4¼ inches square. This is for the donut shape, and it's cut at 8 inches square. And this is for the background, it's cut at 8½. So I'm going to start, and I like to press them opposite ways. So the littlest and the largest are right side out, and the donut in the center is inside out, or wrong side out. So now I'm going to cut these into circles. I like to use a small rotary cutter. The smaller the better. And I have this Circle Savvy ruler from Creative Grids. You can use any kind of circle ruler or however you prefer to cut your circles. So for this one, I just have my folded sides to the right and to the bottom, and I'll line them up with the lines that say fold line. And our smallest circle finishes at 3½ inches. So the circle part of it we need to cut at 4 inches. So you just put your rotary cutter in that slot. And I try to hug the inside curve so I don't cut the outside curve. And sometimes you might need to go in. I didn't press quite hard enough, but that's okay. Easy enough to just trim this again. And then I'm only going to cut the inside circle right now for the donut shape. And again, I'll line it up with the fold lines. And I'm cutting the hole for the little circle. So it finishes at 3½, so you have to go down to 3 inches. Again, hug the inside of the curve. Okay, so for this smallest size, I like to snip this curve. And you can unfold it and do 2 layers at a time, or I'll do 4 layers at a time. I go about 1/8 of an inch in, and at least every 1/4 inch, if not more. And this will just help when you're piecing it together. It'll help the fabric ease onto the circle. Again, the smaller the circle, the more you need to do that. Now here's why I like to press them the way I do. I'm going to unfold my circle, and you'll have 3 folds that are the same and 1 that's different. I put the one that's different over to my right hand side. And then I unfold this. Same thing. 3 folds are the same, 1 fold is different. So the different folds line up. So just fold this over. Whoops. Get right sides together, and the circle, inside circle matching the outside circle, and pin those two where those 2 fold lines meet. And I like to pin approximately 1/4 inch in. The smaller the bite, the better. And then just go around, and every 1/4 circle, you're just going to match up the folds and pin. Now, as you have bigger circles, if you go beyond like a 7-inch, 8-inch circle, I would mark 1/8 instead of just 1/4s. But for these smaller circles, 1/4 circle marks are just fine. So now that I have these pinned, I'm going to go to my sewing machine, and I will just put this down and get my needle down where that pin is and remove the pin. And then I will just line up this 1/4 inch circle, easing the top in to the bottom. So you want your background piece on the top and your circular piece on the bottom. And you'll just ease that together and stitch the 1/4. And then same thing, you'll stop at the next pin with your needle down, adjust everything, and then just worry about that 1/4 of a circle. So I'm going to go sew now. So here's my piece all sewn, and you might see creases, but as long as they're not puckers, that's fine. And we're going to press this. I like to press it so that it looks like it's reverse applique. So I press my seam allowances toward the background piece. So I like to start on the back just so I can control my seams a little bit. Okay, now I'm going to fold this piece into quarters as well, and I'm going to sew them, put them wrong side out because that's the opposite of my other piece. So I'm just making sure these seams match. I can kind of feel them with my thumb. And then when I fold it over this way, I'll just check and make sure that the stitch line of my circles match right here. I'll give that a press. So that marks my 4 quadrants. So now this is the inside circle. This finishes at 6.5 inches. So I'll use this 7-inch mark. And I will say the thing I like about this ruler is on one side it's in inches and the other side it's every half or in half inches. So this is 3.5, 4 inches, 4.5, 5.5, 3, 4, 5. So you can do pretty much any size circle you need. So again, we're finishing at 6.5 and this is the circle. So we're going up to 7 to cut it. My fold lines are lined up with these fold line on the ruler. And it's definitely easier piecing the larger circles than it is piecing the smaller circles. So if you've never pieced circles, you might want to practice with a few larger circles. But on this one, I like to do the smallest one first, just to get any distortion trimmed away as earlier. Okay, now this is going to be the whole. We're finishing at 6.5, so we're going down to 6. So I'll pin these two together. Again, I'll unfold my circle and find the odd fold. I'll unfold my background. Look for my odd fold, it's right here. Put the right sides together and pin at the quadrants. If it makes you happier, you can mark the 8ths as well. But again, this is just about the last of the sizes that I would not bother to mark 8th circles. Any bigger than this, I would probably mark the 8ths. Okay, so my quadrants are pinned. Again, also with the circle on the bottom, the background on the top. Put my needle down, and then once my needle's down, I'll just start easing this in and stitching as I go. So off to the machine. Okay, so we're all sewn. And as you sew, you're really just worried about the next inch or so. So only worry about that part. And you just may have to manipulate the fabric by, I just move this edge here to get it out from underneath the needle when I need to. So I'm going to press this, and this time I want the seam allowance going into the circle. So again, I start on the back. Just to get everything going the way I want it to go. And then flip to the front to get everything flat. My iron's not very hot right now, so it's not going to do a very good job. And if you find that it's really wavy, it's probably just because your circle is distorted, so try to pull your circle back in line. And if you had a hot iron, that also helps. So okay, now let's trim. So these units are 8 inches finished, and the edge of the circle should come in 3/4 of an inch. So I'm going to start at the 8 inch and go 3/4 of an inch in, and my edge 3/4 of an inch in. Oh, here, I'm going to spin this so that I have little ones in the corner. So 3/8 of an inch on that side. I mean 3/4, so it's centered this way, and then I do the same top to bottom. So I'm looking at this mark and this mark. This is 7 1/4, so 3/8 from 8 inches. I mean 3/4 from the 8 inch line, 3/4 from the 8 inch line, 3/4 in and 3/4 in, and the 4 inch lines should mark the center. And then I'll just square up this side. And now that everything's measured, all you have to do is measure from the 8 inch line, and it's all set to go into your quilt.